Hello, dear friends. It doesn't matter who we are or where we live. We all need a brighter day sometimes. We all need to be encouraged and inspired. We need a moment to celebrate beauty and goodness, to find peace and hope. Opinion piece. What is the hold-up? Beyond doubt, it's all in the air. Untangling the daisy. No one knows when this will happen. There is much ado about nothing. This can't go on forever. They'll know what's taking them so long. This is the best time to be alive. A time of expulsion of evil and rebirth. Let's start. To doubt is to distrust or mistrust someone or something, which in this case would be the restart of the system. To pluck the daisy means to hesitate between two possible options. If you dream that you are plucking daisies, it means that you are worried and uncertain about some aspect of your life, work, love, or any other aspect. Beyond doubt, take the risk of change. Do not pretend to go to the triumph by shortcuts. The easy ways to reach your goals are not always clear paths. Each path has its own share of sacrifice. Delay is the delay in the fulfillment of an obligation since it is due, and in colonial America it was the 8th-month season that the natives had to work in the mines. In law, delay is the culpable or deliberate delay in the performance of an obligation or duty. In computer data networks, network latency is the sum of time delays within a network. A delay is produced by the delay in the propagation and transmission of packets within the network. This is the subjective feeling we have right now. They will know why it takes so long. Holly's update. I get asked all the time how much longer for RV. When or what will the extent be? What is the delay? When will they release this? How much more suffering must we endure? These questions I ask my contacts, and they have even moved up the ladder to say the same things. Here is what I can tell you. First, everyone working on this is compartmentalized. Everyone has a specific set of functions to perform. Some have completed their functions or roles, and we seem to be done. The problem is that we don't know what else needs to be completed until it is completed, and then we find out. Second, we hear about the market crash. Is this going to happen, or is the clique saying so? No one really knows. Third, the delay has been and continues to be the fault of corrupt people. There are generations of bankers who have been pushed aside over the years. There have been more resignations. Fourth, they have sleeper cells that activate and cause problems. How many sleeper cells are left? We don't know. 5. We don't know what other plans they had in place that have been intercepted or need to be intercepted. 6. So how much longer? We hear we are close, but then another week goes by, and another month goes by, and then another year. This cannot go on forever, as the world needs it. 7. Russia has announced that they are on the gold standard and are the same with Asia and other countries. 8. Other countries are moving forward, and based on what is happening, We should be close to this launch. 9. No one knows when this will happen. We look for signs. We see world events. We hear news that everything is imminent and happening, and we don't see it. It is frustrating as hell, and it is going on too long. 10. Living beings are suffering. The psychological and emotional stress of this is causing more damage for this to continue. People are exhausted by constant rumors, hope and waiting. 11. Once you are on this journey, you can't get off. You know what you know, and you know this has to happen, and it will happen. We have to keep going and sustain ourselves through the waiting. Excuse me. 12. The bottom line is that it has always been about safety, and obviously things are still happening that we don't know about to avoid this. 13. We need funds to be released to make this happen. When those go, it is happening. Until then, we wait. Take the weekend off and disconnect for a few days. Of Treasures and Truth by Catherine Biel. Despite the evidence that the world is falling apart, I am quietly happy. The simple act of drinking a delicious cup of coffee makes me feel that other is right in the world. Is it selfish to sit back in safety and relative good health, enjoying the first cup of coffee, when so many are suffering? The truth is, there are treasure chests that humankind hasn't even lifted the lid on. No matter how zealously the globalists protect access to that treasure, we are snatching the keys from their tenuous grasp, and the treasure is getting closer with each passing day. Reset news. First, in 5 years the banking system will change dramatically. Second, there will be classes available on how to manage your money, conserve your money, and let it grow instead of spending it all. Third, in the digital system of the restored republic, your money is safe and doesn't need a trust. Lawsuits will no longer be necessary, nor will they be part of our system. Fourth, everyone will get a quantum computer and a quantum phone. 5. They were still trying to qualify Venezuela and Iraq, and would be complete this weekend. 6. Certain banks did some things to try to slow this down, and that is why they are not yet QFS certified. Deploy. First, stocks plunge to mark another week of losses as investors brace for more aggressive Fed tightening. Second, stocks plunge as weak earnings and rising rates spook investors. Third, Bitcoin plummets as its correlation with stocks increases. 4. Gregory Manarino opines, trading activity unexpectedly falls, manufacturing slows, and stocks brace for more gains. 5. Treasury's Yellen says the World Bank needs a major restart. 6. Hungary says Europe would face a brutal recession if it doesn't buy Russian gas. 7. Spain, sixth country with the highest deficit and fourth with the highest debt in the European Union in 2021. Excuse me. Transition to gold. First, all countries are linked to the system. Second, China goes to gold, Russia goes to gold, Iraq goes to gold, and Zimbabwe goes to gold. We are close. Third, Bill Holter's opinion. The gold-backed ruble will leave the petrodollar behind despite Wall Street's price of rising interest rates. The gold price continues to flirt with $2,000 per troy ounce, due in large part to developments in Russia, where its gold backing of the ruble has provided support for the gold market. 4. A Russian official admits that sanctions are crippling the economy as the country grapples with a massive sell-off and massive shortages. 5. Russia responds to US with sanctions on Kamala Harris and Mark Zuckerberg. 6. X22 report. Nations are beginning the transition away from central banks. Central banking has a problem. It has lost the narrative and is not in control. Everything they are trying to do is counterproductive. Countries have begun to adopt other currencies and decentralization has begun. 7. Israel's central bank adds the Chinese yuan and 3 other currencies to its $206 billion reserves, reducing the allocation for the dollar and euro. 8. Energy transition has a big problem with metals. The metals mining industry is at a crossroads. Key metals for the energy transition need billions of dollars in investment if the transition is to move forward to meet the Paris Agreement. Rumors of war. Fog of war. For those of you who still can't grasp the gravity of what is happening in the world, the real storm is just beginning. It is going to get darker. Those of you who are afraid to instill fear or just want positive results and good stories, that is not how war works. The coalition has stopped several incidents. A cyber attack of the century is coming soon, with ATMs and lights out, and a near-death civilization event. Opinion by Greg Hunter. There have been no reported peace talks to resolve the war in Ukraine. This could only mean one thing, and that is to escalate this conflict. German food prices have gone up 20% to 50% in a short period of time. It is not going down in the short term. They are raising the price of fuel in Germany, and Germany is threatening to cut off all oil from Russia by the end of the year. Germany is the economic engine that drives Europe, and it is sinking. Germany and the rest of the European Union are hoping Russia doesn't beat them to the punch and cut them off now. Europe is in serious financial trouble, and its leaders will not stop destroying the economy with sanctions that only hurt their own people. To top it all off, the Western US is in a major draft. Now, Lake Powell is at historic lows, and water will be rationed, making food prices more expensive. Don't forget that fertilizer is being sanctioned out of Russia and is in short supply around the world. This will mean that less fertilizer will be used due to cost or supply issues, and that will translate into much lower yields and less food overall. Much ado about nothing. Opinion by Robert MacDonald. The entire planet has been in seismic, volcanic, and meteorological convulsions for decades and appears to be headed for a paroxysm. The Sun is currently in a state of unprecedented convulsive activity that has been speculated to have been caused by comet Pan stars. Comet K2 could be linked to a magnet planetoid harboring an off-scale opposite electromagnetic potential relative to the Sun. It is well documented that even the most benign comets induce coronal mass ejections. Solar cycle number 25 began with an unprecedented Big Bang in direct contradiction to all predictions of a smooth solar cycle, and represents a deviation of several orders of magnitude above the normal solar cycle progression. As Comet K2 approaches perihelion in December 2022, it remains to be seen whether the Sun will react in direct proportion to its approach. If it reacts, our planet will be hit by a solar storm the likes of which has never been observed in recorded history. That you live in unprecedentedly interesting times takes on a whole new meaning. The Great Reset is undoubtedly a response to an approaching cosmic restart of which there is very little awareness. The measures are the globalists' antidote to the chaos that coronal mass ejections portend. There is a great deal of rejection of disinformation, to put it mildly. Time travel portals and the Montauk Project. Stuart Swedlow interview by Dr. Michael Salla. Stuart Swedlow was among the initial group of child participants who were involuntarily recruited into the Montauk Project that ran from 1970 to 1983 on the northeastern tip of Long Island, New York. Beginning at age 13, they were subjected to time travel and portal experiments that abused as many as 300,000 children and adults, only a few of whom survived. In the Exopolitics Today interview, Stewart explained the history of the Montauk Project, this connection to the Philadelphia experiment, the involvement of the Fourth Reich, the connection to extraterrestrial life, his personal experiences, and much more. Don't be discouraged. This is the best time to be alive on Earth, a time of expulsion of evil and total rebirth of light and truth. This time can be very much unsettling for many who don't know what is happening, but we know what is happening. Things are happening behind the curtain, and we mustn't lose our confidence. We are getting closer and closer to the season of reaping all things. Don't lose heart. We all have people in our lives who mock us and don't believe the truth we know. Many have still been caught in the web of deception by what they see happening in the world around them. But things are not what they seem. We have moved from this dimension to one where we see above the media and know the big picture of what is happening. What we know is true, and when it's coming will be so enormous that it will be worth the wait. God is cleansing this earth back to its rightful position, from darkness to light. We know how this ends. We all win, and God wins. Remember that darkness will never prevail over light. It is God who commanded the light to shine in the darkness when the earth was empty to begin with, and the light will eclipse the darkness once again. What we know is greater than what we see happening on this earth. We know that we are winning this war. This is surely the Great Awakening. What is coming will change this world completely. We need to remember that we will reap if we do not lose hope. It has been a long process, but the results will far outweigh the time we had to wait. We know there are great things the coalition has been doing. This has been a long chess game, but the side of the good guys is winning. So stay on the side of the good guys. Those in the dark will have painful consequences. It may seem like nothing is happening. Let's not question what we know to be true. We know more and more of the truth. Stay in that dimension of truth. And that's all for today. Thanks a lot, dear friends.